Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Inside Line on the In the Drops podcast. And welcome back to ZRL and round three. And we're kicking off round three with a scratch race. So the winner gets 80 points, the 80th place gets 1 point, and you're going to extrapolate between them with a simple straight line. So 1 point for every place, every point. Every position is as important as the one before to fight for, so that's quite good, really. And we're on the Ocean Cliffside Clava Loop, and it's 19 kilometers. And there's a big climb in the middle, then some rolly bits, and then a descendy bit, and then a nice sprint finish that finishes off down in downtown Woodtopia. So, what you need is the inside line.
I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now.
So we're going to have a look at the video of David Hyvee, who's a great rider and he's got a lovely little channel, which I'll link to in the description below. And he's a member of the great ART team, who I've always enjoyed battling with. And they did a recon ride specifically for this. And let's have a look. So we started in downtown Utopia, get a little downhill bit off the pier, and then this uphill bit where people always needlessly push. And then we take the lovely flat route into the volcano, so no worries there. Plenty of draft to be had all through this and this little descent out of the volcano. And then we head over to the first and sort of only feature before the climb, which is the dirty suppressor. So people always push on here, so you don't want to be too far back, but there's also plenty of draft to be had. I've enlarged the size of his draft saving gauge there. So he's in a friendly ride, so he's taking the front just to be friendly with his teammates, but you should be definitely taking some draft all the way to the climb, which people call the Epic KOM bypass, and then you go into this gravelly bit and bridges, and people are always tempted to push a bit there and go to the front, but really stick in the draft, because approaching here is a bit of downhill. You want a bit of a rest before you start your effort, and yeah, the draft does go down to virtually nothing here, but there is a steep section at the start where you do want to front end your effort. Long hard stretch at 10%, only going down to 7 on the second part of that section. A little bit of draft here on this corner, but then straight back up again, little plateau, and then you've got to put everything you've got into getting with a group if you're just slightly off them. He can't quite manage it here, just drops off the pace at the crucial moment. Nick O-Ring, one of my favourite riders, leaves him, and he does the sensible thing, backs off and waits for the larger group behind, who are obviously going to catch him. You really want to be in some draft here, because when you get off the bridge, there's a fairly long section where it never really gets above 1-2%. So you want to be taking some draft for this this flat bit. It does eventually, the sort of depth of the undulations does really increase, but at that point you want to start sort of modulating your power a bit, going harder on the ups of the bumps and easier on the downs. So there are sort of 3-4% sections here. You could push to drop people, but if you're in a larger group, it's unlikely to work. So just take the draft where you can, and then as you see the bridge come into sight, there's just this final bump where if you've got it and you think it's possible, then it might be a good place to try and drop a couple of riders if you've recovered enough on that flat bit, perhaps. So push up there, that's at about 12.6 kilometers in, and then you've got this long downhill drag, really, where it's hard to get the super tuck, but if you're in a group, there's plenty of draft. And then you get the super tuck section all the way down. Might want to push off at the bottom If you're feeling confident, you could even use your aero. You've got this 6% downhill drop into the tunnels, and then it's flat, flat, flat all the way to the ramp out of the tunnel. Now, David's ride doesn't show the distance to go, so we're going to swap over coverage to our old friend Andrew Beneke, who did a race here as we approach the tunnel with about 1.5 kilometers to go, and he bridges a gap here to some riders off the front at the perfect point and does it well, taking draft where it was available. I suspect he was going to go for it anyway, but he took the draft that was there. Very sensible. And at this point, you could really go from wherever you're feeling confident. If you're in a larger group, probably want to leave it later, but in smaller group, if you've kept your aero, which you would have got right at the start, as I would advise, then you can use it at any point really. And I forgot to tell you my bike recommendation. I'll probably go for something like a Tron. Or if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, maybe the Addict Darcy with the disc wheels. It's still an all-rounder, but it's got a bit more aero. Slightly heavier though than the Tron. So yeah, with about 400 meters to go, you come around this corner, and then 260 to go is the first bridge, and about 160 the second bridge. So you really want to commit before there, and hopefully you can hold on like Andrew just doesn't, but he did a great race anyway. So the very best of luck to you in the round 3 and in stage 1 in particular. And yeah, good luck. Bye.